everybody, Tim here again, and here's your introduction to today's video. So what are we doing today? Well, today we are reviewing Theory Lesson 2. That was the one about chords, triads, inversions, and chord progression. So I'm going to go over that again using this new setup I have. See if I can explain it a little better. I know some people were confused and said that lesson was particularly hard for them. So I'm going to try again, and I might make a few more videos like this, but we'll see. So anyway, here comes. So here we are for the second part of Lesson 2, the theory lesson, in which we talked about triads, chords, and inversions. So basically, in music, you have something called a melody, and melody goes horizontal. So I'll show you basically what a melody is. So here's a very basic melody I have created. Oh wait, let me go back. So there's a very simple melody. Notice how it goes horizontal. That's the way we're looking at it. But music can go both horizontal, which is the melody, or vertical, up and down, which makes the harmony. So if you've ever heard people sing in a group, people often talk about the harmonies. Well, they're talking about the people singing together. So basically, also when we talk about harmony, we're also talking about chords, and people use the terms chords and harmony interchangeably. They're not exactly the same thing. But for right now, let's just kind of say that they are, basically. Chords are basically a way to describe harmony, I can say. So there's a couple different types of chords, rather. Whenever you have a chord is basically more than two notes played at the same time, I would say. Now, when you have a three-note chord, like I said, this explanation is a little oversimplified, but for now I think it works. A three-note chord, that is known as a triad. Now there's many different kinds of triads. There's the major triad. Actually, let me play it here. So here's what I wrote here. Let me bring the microphone over this way. Here's what I wrote here with the left hand. Sorry, which is C, E, and G, and I play them all at the same time. Notice how that chord sounds bright and happy. Now don't get too involved in the details here. This is basically a just very generic overview of what these things are. So there's major triad, a minor triad, which sounds sad. So just know major's happy, minor's sad, and then if you lower the top note here, you get what's called a diminished chord, and that will sound very tense. There's also an augmented chord. They're not used quite as often, but they also give kind of a different kind of tense feeling to them. So once again, you have major chords are happy, minor chords are sad, diminished chords are very tense and sound kind of uneasy, and augmented kind of has its own unique sound to it. So just know that there are 4 different types of triads. You don't have to remember how to make triads everywhere. I'm going to probably make another explanation for that. I know the first version of the theory lesson 2 part 1 talked more about how to figure out major, minor, diminished, and augmented triads based on what note you start on. I'm going to explain that again later, but I think I just want to reiterate that this is a very basic overview, so don't get too tied up in the details, or it will drive you crazy. So just know a triad's made up of 3 notes. There's 4 kinds: major, minor, diminished, and augmented. But you don't have to memorize. You don't have to memorize them. You just have to know they exist for now. So anyway, a triad, 3 notes. We're going back over the computer here. 3 notes, and in a song you can use many different types of chords. So I have a couple different chords here. And notice how they are in a certain order. This order is known as the chord progression. So progression is just a fancy word in saying that this is the order in which the chords go. Now it's a little more complicated than that, but like I said, this is a very basic overview of what we're talking about. I'd actually like to do this. Let me do this instead. Actually, and once you get familiar with chords, you can kind of play around with them to see which ones sound good. And there's a general theory behind which ones sound good and which ones will not. I'm wondering if this one will be okay. So very, very, very simple chord progression. There we go. Okay, so let me take a look here and go to play and show you what this thing sounds like so far. In case I don't know if my microphone can pick that up, but let me play this for you. So here's what the melody sounds like by itself. It sounds very basic. And the harmony goes along with the melody to really create the song and the sound. So notice how with the harmony, it actually sounds a lot more like a song, even though it's just a very simple example. So the harmony is the part of the song you'd probably hum to yourself, or not the harmony, the melody, sorry, which is, remember, going vertically, not vertically, horizontally. What is wrong with me today? So melody goes horizontally, which is left to right, and harmony goes up and down, vertically. So when we're talking about harmonies, we're just looking up and down, melodies left to right. So just remember that and know that there are 4 major kind of triads. A triad's made of 3 notes, and there's a major triad, a minor triad, a diminished triad, and an augmented triad. I think the most important thing to remember is the difference between a major triad's happy and a minor triad's sad. That's important to know because you'll hear many songs that sound sad or happy to you, and that'll probably be an indication as to whether the song is written in minor or major, or has minor or major chords in it. So let me go over what an inversion is real quick. So we're going to scroll down here. So we're going to use the bass clef here, and I'm going to draw the same chord I had earlier, C, E, and G. Now, let me show you on the keyboard, which is what I did in the other video, and then I'll show you what it looks like on paper. So to make this into an inversion, is we play the normal triad, C, E, and G. This is known as a C major triad, but that's not so much important as what an inversion is. So this is what an inversion is when you take a triad and you take the bottom note, meaning the lowest pitched note, right here. Where my pinky is, and I'm going to take that away, and I'm going to move it up to the next note of the same type. So here, since I'm taking a C away from the bottom, I'm going to add it to the top, and that's called an inversion. Now I can invert a chord more than once because I can take this bottom note, which is E, the lowest pitch, and take it away and move it up to the next E. Now for a triad there's only 2 inversions, because if I make an inversion again, taking the low G, taking it away and putting it up top, you get the triad again. You're just up an octave. And remember that the octave is 8 notes from one note to the same type or the same letter. Again, so from C to C is an octave, B to B is an octave, A to A. I think you get the idea. Let me show you what that looks like on paper. Moved up here. Let's show you here. So here's our first chord. Now I'm going to show you what it looks like when we put it into an inversion. And then I'm going to invert it again. So here we have a C major triad, and then the next one you have in an inversion because you took the bottom note, that the bottom C, and moved it to the top right there, and then you're going to do it again by taking this E and moving it to the top, which brings you to this one, which is highlighted in blue here. So that's basically it. So remember, a triad has 3 notes. In a song there is melody, which goes horizontal. I got that right this time, from left to right, and it's got so melody left to right. Harmony is up and down vertical. So basically when you're talking about chords, you're talking about harmony because they are notes stacked up on one another. And that in a song you can have many kinds of different chords in different areas and in a certain order, and that order is known as the chord progression. Also, the last thing is that when you have a triad, like so, you can move the bottom note to the top and invert it. You can do that again. We're going to take the E and you move it up top, and that will invert your chord. It gives it a slightly different sound, but a major chord, if you invert a major chord, it's still going to sound happy. If you invert a minor chord, it will still sound sad. Same thing with diminished and augmented. They will still sound like those types of chords, just a little different, different order. So that's a very basic overview. Like I said, don't drive yourself crazy over this stuff. This is just a very basic introduction to theory. I realized in the first part, or the first theory lesson 2 that I created, I could have done a better job just basically telling you that we were doing a general overview. I think I delve in a little too deep, and hopefully showing you both on paper, or on the computer rather, and on the keyboard. Hopefully that helped you out a little bit. So hopefully this new setup, I can show you things I wasn't able to show you before. So once again, to make sure I got the words right: melody, horizontal, and harmony, vertical. Sorry, I get those mixed up for some reason. But anyway, let me know if you have any questions. Keep leaving comments if you want, and I'll try to answer them the best I can. So anyway, here, this was part 2 of theory lesson 2, and my tongue was very tied today. But anyway, hopefully you understood. And thanks for watching as always, and I'll see you for the next lesson. Thank you.